let me give you one final optimization problem. This one's a little different. In this case, a firm is trying to figure out how much labor it should hire. Not how much output it should produce, but rather how much labor it should hire. Let me give you a specific example. Suppose we have this Cobb-Douglas production function, where the output of a firm per period is simply k to the 0.5 power times L to the 0.5 power. That's the firm's production function. It's a function of both capital and labor. Now, in the short run, capital's fixed. Okay. In the long run, the firm can adjust the amount of capital they use, but in the short run, let's say the capital's fixed. And in this problem, let's assume the capital is fixed at 100 units. Okay. Labor is variable, however. This firm is a perfectly competitive firm, and it can sell its product at a constant price, as much as it wants, at $100 per unit. The firm, the price of capital is $10 per unit. Let V be the price of capital, price per unit of capital. The wage rate per hour of labor is given to the firm, it's $20. The firm can hire as much labor as it likes at $20 per unit. V is the price per unit of capital. Okay. So the question is, how much labor should this firm hire? How would you do this as an optimization problem? How much L should the firm hire? It can hire as much labor as it wants at $20 an hour. Okay. How would you go about finding the optimal amount of labor to be hired? Well, we assume that the goal of the firm is to do what? Maximize profit. Maximize profit. They want to make as much money as they can. Okay. So that suggests that the objective function, which is step one in an optimization problem, is finding what kind of function. What kind of function are we going to be finding? Profit. Okay. They want to maximize profit. And what is the choice variable in this problem? Labor. I heard somebody say labor. Okay. So what we want to do is figure out what our objective function is. Find profit expressed as a function of labor. And how will we do this? Well, what is the definition of profit? Let's go back to the definition of profit. Profit is what? This revenue minus cost. So let's see if we can do this. What is revenue? And here we want revenue expressed not as a function of output, but as a function of labor. And we want cost expressed as a function of labor too. Okay. Well, revenue is also equal to P times Q. P is equal to 100. You're given that. Q, if you substitute in here, Q is this. And this can be simplified further because K is given. K is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. So revenue is just going to be 1,000 times L to the 0.5. Notice that's revenue expressed as a function of L. So it's a 100 L to the 0.5. And costs expressed in terms of labor. Question? Oh, oh, you're right. 100 times a 10 is 1,000. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Because it's 100. Oh, I made that same mistake here. The square root of 100 is 10. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So this should be 1,000 here too. Yes. Thank you. Okay. And costs are found very simply. Costs are just 20L. That's your labor costs minus your capital costs. Capital is fixed. So the capital costs are just 10 times 100 is minus 1,000. So this is our objective function. Okay. This is 90% of the battle, is figuring out what this objective function is. Now, once we have this objective function, what do? We look at the first order condition, which is the first derivative of profit with respect to labor in this case. Set it equal to 0. You get your critical value of Q. Then check the second order condition. In this case, I'll tell you, if you work this problem out, there's just one critical value of L. And at that critical value of L, you'll find that the second derivative is negative, which guarantees a maximum. Okay. I'll let you work this problem out the rest of the way, just as a homework problem.